Everyone, welcome to the show. So, the stock market dipped a little bit today because reports exposed what we've all been knowing, what we've all been seeing, what we knew was coming is that Donald Trump is a failure. His economy is a failure. And several news outlets are reporting that Trump's administration is hiding a report from the public so that no one will realize just how bad things really are. So, more on that in a minute. Before I get into all these details, please do me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button below this video. It is free for you, really helps the show. So, here's what's going on. The stock market had been rallying in recent days. I don't know if you guys knew, but because the tariffs were reduced and some of them were put on hold again, they started to rally and things were starting to look up. Well, they started to falter again today because several reports were released and they show very concrete signs that Trump's policies and his decisions are a disaster. So the first report came out, it was a survey of businesses. This was conducted by the Institute for Supply Management. And in their survey, in regard to the month of May, it showed that activity was contracting for U.S. retailers, finance companies, and other businesses in the services industries. And businesses told the group that conducted the survey that basically the chaos and the on again, off again, tax on, tax off BS of Mr. Mewaki, this is creating uncertainty and it's making it difficult for them to make plans. Exactly what we have been predicting, exactly what we all knew was going down. The second report that was released was from ADP. So they found that non-government employers, basically everybody in the private sector, they're hiring far fewer workers, or they did hire far fewer workers in May than what economists had predicted. So the Dow Jones forecast was 110,000 new jobs added in the month of May. Well, it came in at only 37,000. So way, way off from what analysts were predicting. And that was even almost half of what it was in April. So there were 60,000 jobs added in April, only 37,000 in May. It is getting worse day by day. And to make matters even worse, the Labor Department just reported higher than expected unemployment claims. Previously in this year, when we saw all these government layoffs, all these people fired by Doge and Donald Trump, they were kind of being absorbed into the market. And, the jobless claims weren't that bad. So the Dow Jones had predicted 236,000 jobless claims. Well, the Labor Department just reported it was 247,000. So that was as of May 31st. And that's an increase of 8,000 in just a week. It's the highest jobless rate claim, jobless claim rate, I should say, since November of 2021. So the height of the COVID pandemic, we're now seeing that level of unemployment. And ADP's chief economist told CNBC, quote, "After a strong start to the year, hiring is losing momentum." Nice way of saying Trump's decision-making is shit. And it's costing everyone. So instead of admitting that, hey, maybe I'm going in the wrong direction, maybe I need to recalibrate, pull up, go a different way. No, Trump instead called out the Fed. So on his failing social media site, Truth Social, Trump called for the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, to lower interest rates. So he wants Jerome Powell to save him from the craziness, from the lunacy and the chaos that he's creating. And signs are everywhere that this is just a monumental failure, because Procter & Gamble just announced They're going to be laying off 7,000 employees over the next 2 years. And they specifically cited tariffs and economic concerns. And companies are now saying they can't even get supplies. So manufacturers can't even obtain the supplies they need in order for this massive boom to take place, this manufacturing resurrection that Donald Trump wants the United States to experience. They can't even get the supplies to start manufacturing here in the US. Axios reported that manufacturers are complaining. Basically, they're having the same supply chain issues that they had during COVID. They wrote, quote, factories are reporting increasingly longer delivery times for supplies. Material prices are rising at a faster rate. Automakers are warning of supply distribution or disruptions, shutting down assembly lines, with at least one car maker pausing production. Supplier delivery times are the slowest in 2 years, a result of companies slowing or canceling shipments in the wake of on-again, off-again tariffs. Suppliers are also struggling to keep up with manufacturers' accelerated requests to get goods into the country before tariffs take effect. It is taking longer for customers to clear shipments newly subject to tariffs, and the process is further bogged down by companies haggling over who should pay the tariff bill. And the Trump administration, as I mentioned in the beginning, is trying to hide another damning report. So according to Politico, they spoke with two sources who said that Trump officials are delaying a government report on farm trade. And the Trump team is redacting part of the report that they're putting out to hide negative details. These sources told Politico that the report basically just completely disproves Trump's claim that tariffs are going to reduce U.S. trade imbalances. Politico wrote, quote, the politically inconvenient data prompted administration officials to block publication of the written analysis normally attached to the report because they disliked what it said about the deficit. Evidently, this report projects a record-breaking deficit of $49.5 billion. Now, there's another report out showing that, the deficit is going to be reduced drastically because of these tariffs. It's going to bring in so much money to the U.S. that it's going to bring down the deficit. Well, there's a couple things on that. First of all, that report also points out consumers are going to pay the price for that. That even if it does reduce the deficit, it's going to slow the economy, it's going to increase inflation, and it will contract growth in the United States. And then second, let's think about what this means. If you are imposing tariffs and then that's bringing down the deficit, you are therefore destroying businesses. Because as we all know, which a lot of MAGA still doesn't know, those tariffs are paid for by U.S. companies. So U.S. companies are therefore paying down the deficit and then passing on that cost to the consumers. So consumers and businesses are paying down the deficit instead of just, as I've mentioned, increasing taxes on the wealthiest people who use loopholes so that they don't have to pay as much taxes as even a teacher in the United States. All these corporations who have zero federal taxes paid, it's because they exploit the existing loopholes, which Congress refuses to close up, and they're getting away with murder. And in the meantime, average companies, average consumers are going to feel the brunt of this, and they are going to pay down the deficit instead of the wealthiest people in this country who benefit the most from all of this BS. and the latest tax bill or this budget bill that the Republicans passed. So, yeah, they're just moving the burden from the people who should be paying it, the people who get away with not paying hardly anything compared to how much they're making, and, making all of their hundreds of millions and billions of dollars off the backs of their employees who they refuse to pay a living wage. So anyway, there you go, guys. Yeah, it's a shit show. Like I always say, elect a turd, expect a shit show. All right. I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.